My next guest thinks investors should be selling tech and focusing on sectors that have really been traditional havens. I want to bring in Landsberg, Bennett, the private wealth management CIO, Michael Landsberg. Michael, before we get to some of the ideas that you have, I read that you were looking for inflation possibly to surprise up in the end of the year. Where would that pressure come from that, inflation continues to just not go away?
Charles, I think the issue is the shelter costs aren't going down. You're seeing that very, very high. It's roughly 5%, almost 5%. It's very, very sticky. The other thing I think that's kind of hiding in the woods, if you will, is Chinese shipping rates are over 100% in the last 12 months. It typically takes 18 months or so for that to kind of show up. So I'm thinking that's going to be a fourth quarter, first quarter of next year. Not that we're going to go back to those 8 and 9% years that we had a couple of years ago, but I think that idea of being able to get to that 2% number, I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to kind of stay where we are and slowly tick a little bit higher. Doesn't mean it's going to be catastrophic, but it means that drive towards the 2.0% as a target, I don't think it's going to happen for quite a while.
I do want to pick up on that. I saw a chart earlier in the week of the Chinese shipping rates, and none of my guests picked it up or at least thought it was worthwhile talking about. And to your point on housing, when we started getting this inflation data a couple of years ago, everyone said, well, the BLS is late, housing is going to come down, and but it hasn't, not to the degree we thought it would, and by this time, and I tend to believe that you're onto something, and this 2% number target, I just don't know that the Fed, maybe they can never publicly say it, but maybe it's somewhere behind closed doors, they're going to have to agree that 2.5%, 3% is probably more realistic. I know the sectors you like, utilities, real estate investment trust, healthcare, and staples. These are traditional havens. I do want to specifically, though, ask you about staples, because if we are talking about a future government in America of price controls, particularly on food products, what does that do for staples? Doesn't it hurt their chances of making money?
You're right. If we do get into the environment, and hopefully your last guest showed, price controls don't really work. I think, unfortunately, we seem to want to bring out some priorities that haven't worked in other countries and think they're going to work here. I think my main argument for clients is when we look at diversification, it has to be real diversification. When I talk about utilities, I'm not talking about utilities that are going to benefit from AI. I don't want industrials that will benefit from AI or real estate. I think you want real diversification. We're big believers in AI longer term, but every sector you own can't be a kind of closet AI play and think you're diversified. And that's really what we've seen when people say, I have industrials, I have utilities. Yeah, you do, but they're all AI plays. We want to have some things that are not AI to really diversify and lower the risk in portfolios.
So your 3 stocks that you've shared with us, we're going to put them on the screen for our clients, for our viewers, and also for folks listening on radio. Arthur J. Gallagher, and Bell Ring Brands. I've got to zero in on Bell Ring Brands as we run out of time because I'm not familiar with this name.
They're one of the leaders in the ready-to-drink protein. And so one of the big plays in the last couple of years that we're big fans of, we like the weight loss drugs, the GLP drugs. And everybody knows muscle weighs more than fat. And so when you lose muscle, you're losing more weight. And the problem with that is you're losing muscle. So these protein drinks, and specifically ready-to-drink protein meals, drinks, et cetera, are a big way for people that are taking these drugs to be able to maintain their muscle mass. Because losing weight's great, losing muscle's not as we get older. We think that's a great way to be able to play it. They're continuing to grow. They've made them taste a lot better than they were in the old days. And we think that's a business that will continue to do well as people, A, are healthy, but B, some of the weight loss folks, they're going to want to make sure that they're going to keep the muscle on. And that's important as we age.
It's so funny, Michael. Everyone in my circle is losing a lot of weight, including myself. But I'm lifting. I lift about 4 days a week, and my friends and my family, they're not lifting. And I'm telling them, you're slimmer, but I want you to get some muscle. Good stuff.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Michael. Have a great weekend. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, Charles.
All right, folks. So the market, it's